Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge YouTube channel. A special video for you today. We're going to be joined by Grischa Niermann. You may already be familiar with him if you watched the La Familia documentary, which chronicles Team Jumbo Visma's attempt to win the Vuelta in 2019, the ultimately successful attempt. I'm not just saying this because I'm interviewing Grischa now, but I honestly think it's one of the best cycling documentaries. It's raw, it's really well put together. They've not edited out bits to make it politically correct. It's actually what happened. It's what the riders were thinking. It's a really interesting insight into the mindset of the staff and the riders. So if you want to watch that documentary, it's on Team Jumbo Visma's website. The link is in the description below. I'd really encourage you to check it out. And if you like this video, make sure you drop a like down below. It really helps out. And maybe share it with some of your friends or someone you know who's interested in cycling. That's a big help as well. Where is most of the JV, the Jumbo Visma team? Is everyone in their respective home countries or where they live?
Yeah, basically yes. We have a few guys living in Andorra, in Spain, in Monaco. They're all home, and everybody's just at home right now. And most cases it's their home country, but in some cases it's also just the place where they're living. For example, in Andorra.
This must be one of the hardest things for you as a coach, the challenge of structuring a training program in the face of uncertainty. How have you approached that?
The problem is a little bit to keep everybody also motivated and probably also for a long time without any real goal in front of you in sight. And I think the mental aspect at the moment is very important, and therefore there are guys that really want a very strict training schedule so they know what to do. There are other guys that it works better for them to just have a weekly schedule that they roughly know what to do, and also over the last weeks we advised most of our guys to take at least a week of rest or almost rest because it was clear that they won't be racing for a long time. And for now it's basically like keeping everybody in shape on a good level and trying to keep them mentally fresh and motivated for the moment that we really start like structured training towards the first races, which will hopefully happen somewhere this year.
To go from that sort of general training without a specific goal, as a coach in an ideal world, how much notice would you want?
In an ideal world, when you look, for example, at the tour preparation, of course you would want like 2 months, 6 weeks of structured training preparation, altitude camps, in ideal scenario also preparation race before. But on the other hand, I think we have to take it like it is, and I think our riders, but also probably counts for the other teams. If the Corona crisis would be over tomorrow, and there would be a race on Sunday, you could still go race, and everybody would still be in pretty good shape. The bigger issue is how long does it take for the Corona crisis being over, or at least being over to an extent that normal life can begin.
Let's talk about some racing that actually did happen, some better times. Vuelta 2019. That's what I want to ask about. Stage 1, the time trial in Torrevieja. Shit completely goes downhill. Riders crash. You hear about it on the radio. And I think maybe you blew up on the phone or whatever. But then when you get on the team radio to the guys, I noticed you're just like, okay, Tony, get up, someone get Primoz a bike. Is Primoz okay? Let's go. Have we got enough numbers to complete the TTT?
We are not behind, Wait at your wheel with 6 or 5, go. Fuck off! What the fuck was that? Water over de weg gelopen. Okay guys, we make the best out of it. You're left with 6. Bring up the speed.
Completely almost like a personality shift between what you're talking to the guys in the car and then the riders on the road. Is that a conscious decision or just happens naturally?
Yeah, I think it happens naturally. I'm quite a calm guy normally, but of course in the heat of the race you also have to let off some steam. But I think for me as a coach, it's very important to always be like calm and clear to the riders, because they probably even have a lot more adrenaline than I have following the race in the team car in a situation like this. And I think it's key to stay calm and give the good instructions in these situations. And that was an extremely stressful situation, the crash in the TTT. There were some more in the Vuelta, but for me, in these moments, also it's very hard, of course, for myself sometimes to keep calm then. But that's at least what I try.
And is that across TJV? Because I noticed as well, and you'll see this in the documentary, Roglic seems to regularly do like positive visualization verbally almost to himself, saying it's okay. Like after that night, I think he said, it's okay, I'm going to win 4 stages anyway. Or it's okay in the ITT, I think Jurançon, I'm going to put minutes into them anyway. Is that just a Primoz thing?
That's probably Primoz being as confident as he used to be. I guess, of course, there's also a little bit difference in mentality. I'm watching the movie star documentary now, and of course, like Spanish are probably in general, at least, a bit different than Northern Europeans, I would say. Of course, in the team, we try to keep it calm and to be confident of ourselves to make the right decisions, the good decisions. But also. Like when I look to us coaches, every coach is a bit different, and that's also good. I mean, we don't want to have 8 Grischa Niermanns as a coach. Everybody should have his own personality coming forward. But in general, I think you could say that at least we try to have a calm approach and don't scream through the radio every day for 5 hours.
How many soigneurs? How many do you generally bring per race or per Grand Tour even?
Generally, like for Grand Tour, we generally bring 4 mechanics, 6 soigneurs, 2 chefs, a doctor, an osteopath, at least 3 guys for the media, camera team, our press officer, 3 coaches, and of course a lot of times also people from the team management coming there with guests. Marijn Zeeman, our sportive director, is there a lot of times. For example, he was there almost all Tour de France. He was there for the last week, I think, of the Vuelta. So a lot of people.
And I think people should remember that when they realise there's no cycling on at the moment. Remember that it's not just the riders without sort of work at the moment. It's also there's more staff than the riders across all the world tour teams. You go to the World Tour team websites. Jumbo Visma announced quite early that you were going to go with what people have called the Trident approach, with Dumoulin, Kruijswijk and Roglic for the Tour de France. Do you think there's been a change in strategy from teams wanting to win the Tour in this era to, say, previous eras when it was one sole leader, everyone riding for that leader, or is it just a coincidence?
Of course, I think you have to give Ineos the credits, or Team Sky, that they showed that they can work with more than one leader. I mean, in the Lance Armstrong era, it was very clear who was the leader and who had to do the work. Of course, going with one sole leader, you always have the risk of either crashing, not being in form, getting sick, whatever, and then everything is gone. And the approach for us the last years also always has been that we also have a world-class sprinter with Dylan Groenewegen. He's a Dutch guy. We wanted to succeed in the biggest race of the world, in the Tour de France. So we never went to the Tour with only one leader, but we had like a classification guy and a sprint guy. So that's also a bit different. But of course, also with Ineos, you saw the last years that they can handle more than one leader, and that makes the chances bigger to win the race. And especially like they are the biggest, the wealthiest team in the world. And our approach is, if we really want to win the Tour de France, and if we want to do that, we have to send our best riders. And we can't afford not sending the best riders. So that's basically how we came up with the 3-leader strategy.
If you got the ability to manage the personalities with it, which Ineos do, you guys seem to do, then it's only a good thing. The only drawback is when infighting or whatever happens.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, every leader always rather wants to win for himself, but that's then it also comes down to us, to the coaches, to make very clear, have a lot of talks. They already happened this winter, so hopefully we will have a Tour de France, and we will be able to show that it works out going to the race with 3 leaders. But you have to get everybody committed to the goal that we want to win the Tour de France as Jumbo Visma, and no matter who the rider's name is.
I'll finish off with saying, like, what are your plans personally for the next while? Are you just training yourself, or I guess you're busy as normal?
I still ride the bike a lot myself, and luckily also in Germany you're still able to ride outside. Also with the team we have quite a few online races now. The Tour de Suisse, the Digital Swiss is coming up. We're also doing some internal races on Swift, planning social rides there to engage with the fans, also to give at least a little bit back to our sponsors, and I'm quite busy with that, because I'm also not too much into Swift racing yet, but it's quite fun. I do it like for a week or so now. I have to admit that I kind of like it. I mean, luckily for now, our sponsors are sticking with us, and it's very hard time seeing other teams having to take big cuts in payment because the sponsors are losing a lot of money. It's going to be hard times for cycling, even if we go back to racing. But it's not only hard times for cycling; it's very hard times for everybody. Not only the health, but also economically, and we have to see what happens when we are back to normal again.
I'd like to say big thanks to Grischa for joining me for that interview. I hope you guys found it interesting. Comment down below whether you liked it and any follow-up questions you'd like me to ask Grischa. And if you like this video, make sure you drop a like down below. It really helps out, and maybe share it with some of your friends or someone you know who's interested in cycling. That's a big help as well. But I hope you enjoyed this. Ciao.